this was your first time and first week helping a family, I want to just take a moment and just applaud you because even though you didn't see your name today, that is the most important slide of all slides. I call it the belief recognition, because you went out, you did this work, you did the silent work, and I want to make sure you recognize publicly. So for all those who protected their first family, that is awesome. The most important thing you can do is the next week, don't roll a zero. Just keep the momentum going to make sure that you never, when it comes time to sharing how many families you protected in the week, that you never roll a zero, that it's always, you always have something. And so we're going to jump into our highlight for the day. Let me see if I need to actually make her a panelist. Give me a second here. All right, I'm just going to find you real quick, Rose. And I am going to make you a panelist. There it is here. All right. All right, Rose, are you with us here? All right, so while she gets on, I'm going to go ahead and just let you guys know who she is. So if any of you are wondering, maybe you've seen some of the Marvel movies and you say, yeah, it's cool, but I don't know. Listen, Wonder Woman is real, okay? Some of you came on today to verify that fact, and I'm going to tell you at the end of this, you're going to know for sure that Wonder Woman is the real deal. And I'm telling you, that's the Rosalind that I know. If you've ever, or if you've known anyone that's been a mom, that's had responsibilities, that's had challenges, so much so that, I mean, you thought that there's no way I can succeed here. Here's an example of how it's possible and exactly what you need to do to make it happen. So I want to make sure we get her on to share a story. We're going to just be real. We're going to go from start to finish. Rose, are you on with us? All right, Rose, I think we're having trouble here. All right, bear with me 1 second, guys. Let's see if you can get her on here. All right, so while she gets on, I'll have her just text me. She's having any trouble here. Okay, there we go. All right, we have 2 Roses. So whichever, we have 2 Roses here, whichever one you are, Rose, go ahead and unmute and you can turn your video on and we can go from there. All right, so Rose, see if you can actually jump on your phone if your computer's having trouble. That might make it easy for you. So while you do this, I'll just simply share just a couple more facts. So Rose got started some time back, and when you're brand new, there's so many things coming at you that you wonder if not only what to do, how to do it, and at the same time, you're having to reinvent yourself. You're having to go from whatever you've done before to try to be someone who is FFL. And here's what we know: whenever you're coming to fight a war, and this is just history, if you go in World War II, III, Civil War, American War, one of the number one tenets that any leader knows when you're fighting a war is if you can avoid it with like the plague, you never, ever, ever fight a 2-front war. You don't fight a war where you're being hit in the front and then you divert your forces and you go to the south. That is the number one way to lose. So when you're a brand new person, there's so many things to confront. The question is, where do you divert your focus? And that's what a great strategist can do, is he is able to be good at what he's good at. And that's what Rose has been able to do here. She's been able to divert or really focus her efforts on one thing. And because she was laser focused, man, it switched. And then she was able to defeat this battle. And then with that force and with that relief, was able to divert it to other places where now she's just creating that momentum. So I'm really excited to hear exactly what that was and that's going. Rose, are you with us now? All right, so sorry about the tech difficulties here. All right, let me see if I can go ahead and jump her on. Here's what I'm going to do. All right, just bear with me 2 seconds, guys. See, Wonder Woman is just trying to make an entrance, that's all. All right, I'm gonna have her just go ahead and log out and log back in. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump in to start some of the processes and just kind of share some of the challenges that come in when you're brand new. So I'll say this. So FFL system is very, very simple. The simplicity is, again, number one, you need to commit to the process of 100. Now, there's some things you got to do in between, but when we go through the process and when Rose shares it, here's what I'm going to tell you. It's simple, okay? It's very, very simple. Here's why the number one reason that keeps us from succeeding is we complicate it along the way. It's like that game telephone where one thing, it starts with one word, and then by the time it gets to the 30th person, it's a completely different word. The hardest thing about FFL is keeping it simple. And when you hear Sean Mike, I mean, he's the leader of us all. Every time he says, listen, whoever is succeeding, there's just a normal person. Okay, there's a normal person. They just work hard. That's it. So the question is, can you keep it simple? It's not that it's complicated. It's simply that you are overcomplicating it. And if you're brand new, take this note. The reason people try to complicate the system, the reason that they try to do that is because it's a selfish thing. Because if they fail, they can't say it was simple and I just didn't do it. Because if they fail, now they can say, well, the reason I failed was it was complicated. The reason I failed was because of X, Y, Z, because of blah, 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 blah. Again, you always have an excuse where you don't put the blame on yourself. But the key is if you keep it simple, again, how can you say it? Or the only thing you can't say is the reason I failed was because I didn't do the simple stuff, which is buy leads, dial leads, run appointments. Okay. Rose, just come on in whenever you can. If you're having tech on your phone, see if you can jump in on either your iPad. And what I'll do is I'll make you a panelist, and I'm just keeping an eye on the chat. But I'll jump in. So another thing is momentum. So when I was brand new, I learned early on that momentum takes time. Momentum is something that is hard to gain, but very, very simple to lose. So if you're brand new, just simply educating your expectations. I'll share with you what I mean. There's a good movie that I watched some time back called G.I. Jane. Some of you have seen it. And these are the stories of this Marine and going to the process of being a Marine. And one of the things that the drill sergeant said really impressed me from the beginning. He said, when he was talking to people, that they're doing all this hard stuff, holding boats for hours. I mean, swimming all times of the night. I mean, doing things that it just was beyond the human body, they say. And he said this to these people. He had this bell that he said to them, hey, listen, at any time during this process, you can go and ring that bell whenever you want. And he said, many of you will not successfully negotiate this process. And he didn't say many of you will just fail. Many of you can't handle it. He said, many of you will not successfully negotiate this process. And we're talking about the best people in the entire country. We're talking about bodybuilders. We're talking about world athlete runners. We're talking about the people that are the best of the best, the elite. And what he discovered was the reason that people succeeded in being a Marine was not because they had the greatest, strength or longevity per se. It was they were able to mentally negotiate the process of being a Marine. Because of that, that's the difference maker now. So what that means is when you go through this process of FFL, you have to be able to mentally negotiate the challenges, mentally negotiate the distractions, mentally negotiate the successes, because even that will distract you. So what that means is when they were going through all these process, if you let something distract you too much, it's over for you. So again, it's not a matter of whether you're good enough, it's whether you will educate your expectations so you don't get blown out of the water. So I'll keep going, Rose. If you can just tell me to stop. I'm like a Southern preacher. I'll just keep going, right? So when I got started, I realized that momentum took time. How do you get momentum? Well, if you're taking notes, you do the basics, right? Just do the basics. What are the basics? Simply you buy, dial, run. Now, if you're new, you're asking yourself a couple of questions. Does it matter what kind of lead type I do? No, it doesn't really, because at the end of the day, a lead is a lead. All you're first looking to do is you're not looking at the scoreboard. You're blind. You're like Justice. You're blind. All you're doing is to create a ratio. That's it. We don't know where you're starting off in the finish line. Maybe some of you came from a background of sales. Maybe you're already used to overcoming objections. You're already used to being unselfish, right? Putting the client first. You're already used to simply looking for the best deal for the client, not for you. You're used to the hard work it takes of grinding to get the gold nugget, right? Some of you aren't. So we don't know where you are in the process. So how will we find out? Well, The only way you find out is by going through the process. And once you create a ratio, it's like a legend on a map. Whenever you look at a map, I don't care where it is, you just start looking, well, depending if you know what maps are. But whenever you look at a map, the first thing I look at, if you're smart, is you will find a legend, right? You'll find a legend to know, maybe it'll tell you what you should be looking at and what things are. The legend is the key. It's the litmus test. It's the crystal ball. It tells you, okay, if I did X, I would get Y. Okay. All right, give me a second here. Let me see if I can Rose just text me. She is ready to roll. Let's see if I can let her in here. All right, Rose, you should be in. Go ahead and unmute yourself, and then you should be able to start giving us some of your nuggets.
Come on.
All right, there we go.
You hear me?
Yeah, listen, prayers are answered, right? So, yeah, let me just let me get Rose on. Just remember, you need to create a ratio by doing the basics. So let me get out of the way, and let's just jump right into it, Rose. Is that okay?
Yeah, sorry.
All right, so you're brand new. You came into this game. There are a lot of people who come into this game with baggage. What were some, first things, two questions. How did you get an FFL? And second question, what were some of the things, the baggage that could have knocked you out the game, that could have made a normal person think, oh, this is not for me. I can't do this.
Okay, well, I would say it's definitely super hard. You think you've done something great when maybe you help 4 families real quick off the bat, and then all of a sudden everything charges back. And you're like, oh my God, I thought I just killed it. And then you didn't actually just kill it. So then you have to regroup and figure out what to do. And for me, when I came in, I was completely broke. I was a waitress before this. And I have a slew of kids. So I had just had twins. And so I was kind of recovering from that. And I just knew I wanted to get back to work. So it was.
How long ago did you have babies before you got an FFL?
Well, I was pregnant when I got my license, actually, with them. And I was with a different company. I didn't do anything at all there. And they're 8 months old now, so they're crawling everywhere.
That's awesome. So tell us the story, how you got an FFL.
I was actually about to start doing like health insurance because I had a really bad vibe from the last company that I, started off with to get my license with. And so I was waiting to get on to sell health insurance when Joe's recruiter actually called me, and I was just like, me and my husband at that point, we were just like, just dive into something, like just let's go, let's work. And I was like, okay, like whatever, okay, I'll do it.
That's how you got in. That's awesome. And when you got in, what in your past gave you any proof that you would succeed here?
Well, I played sports. I played soccer all the time. Soccer. I played a lot of sports actually, and then I, chose soccer. I had a soccer scholarship to play in college. And I think anybody with a sports background knows what it takes to be successful. Nobody's ever just jumps out the game. Actually, I have seen a few people jump out the game and just, be amazing. But for other people like me, it takes time to figure out what you're doing. And there's so many videos and so many trainings and so much stuff from a ton of great leaders. And probably if I would have listened to everything that everyone said from the beginning and dove all the way in, I would have gotten here faster. But a conference really changed things for me, I would say 100%.
Awesome. If you guys notice, I'm taking notes. I'm looking down. I'm not dozing. I'm taking notes because success leaves clues. It's the small things. And guys, one of the things that people make the mistake on is they look for reasons why they can't do this. And if you're listening to this today and looking for something, just one nugget that you remember, look at what Rose says. What in your past gives you proof that you can succeed here? It doesn't have to be business. Whether you've been a mom, dad, you've done a job, look for something you've done that's been hard, that's required some kind of consistency. And that's proof enough for you that you can do this, because look at Rose, she's done it. Now, Rose, I'm going to ask you a different question. The whole thing about this is, how did you go from 0 to helping 20 families a month? It was a big push. What exactly clicked? Because I remember the times when you were like, man, I don't know if I'm doing it. I'm just messing it up. I mean, I don't know. What clicked all of a sudden that just took you over the edge?
That's crazy. So conference, 100%. I went to conference. I sought out people that were successful, even though I knew like I was not on their level. And I remember Paul McLean stopped me because I was like, I know you guys are busy, but can you just give me this quick nugget, basically? And he was like, no, change the way you're asking them. I know you want to help me. So here's my question. And like just
Mm.
everything I learned, like he's going to give me advice on how to ask for advice. Everything I learned, there, I took it back home and I was like, it's time to dive in. Like I took, money out of, the way to get out there. I have all these kids. Like I am the provider of the family. I have a great husband who backs me and makes it so that I can do this. And he takes care of the kids. And I mean, the whole thing was I got to do it. Like I got to do it. I saw everybody in there that's successful and I can do it. And it was like a belief that I developed. And honestly, every appointment I go in, I just pretend I'm Joe Miller.
Good person to be. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, if you're taking notes again, just the Power Conference. Again, we went to the national conference. Her belief just changed. If you want an image, she literally transformed into Wonder Woman. She became Super Rose. And for some of us, again, if you want an image, again, I have kids, Rose has kids, so I use all these images of cartoon characters. And, the Hulk, sometimes to become the Hulk, he had to learn how to transform. He couldn't just do it. It was out of control. He had to get mad. And one scene, if you remember the Hulk, they threw him, actually, his girlfriend, I remember, she threw him out or pushed him out the plane so that he can become what he needed to be. And some of us, we need to go to an event that elevates our beliefs so we can transform it into who we need to be. So step one, if you're taking notes, you need to go to an event. Now, conferences pass, but there is a sales conference near some of us. FFLevents.com, find a sales conference and go there. Go there for you because you need to transform. And if Rose had not transformed, I ask where would we be? I mean, she talked about Paul McLean, giving her advice about asking for advice. I know you're busy. No, I know you want to help me. Changing the questions you're asking changes the mind completely. So no, thank you for those two nuggets, Rose. Now, as far as the process, okay, let's talk about the nitty gritty. Exactly how did you do it? So let's talk about someone, if I'm brand new today, or I've been in the game for a week, 2 weeks, and I say, listen, I want to protect 20 families a month. What is the game plan? How exactly did you do it? How many leads did you buy? How many dials did you make? How many families did you sit with? And how many families did you help protect? Break it down for us.
So what I would say, most importantly, is that you have to make a decision to stick to a structure, to stick to a schedule, to dive all in. Like when they say stack the deck in your favor, if you only have $500 to spend on leads, I would say don't buy the instance. Buy 1,000,000 of the 3-month-olds. As many people as you can call, you need to stack the deck in your favor so that you have enough people to talk to. Because when I started, I was broke and I was buying 3-month-old leads and I was buying as many as I could. But then when I came back, then you can buy instance and then you can, kind of like level up a little bit. So I would say the most important thing is like you're going to go until you've booked them. So I'll start dialing at 7:30 in the morning, as early as I can. And then I'll dial until they're booked. Another thing is plugging into the offices, which is something I kind of started doing, not every single day because they're so far away. But if you can get into an office or get into a live dial Zoom room where there's other people doing what you want to do, then that's definitely key. Even if I drove like 2 hours to get to that office because I knew I was going to work as hard as I could to book as many appointments as I could so I could get back home to my family. And then then my time was for my family. Mm-hmm. And then I would also say, gosh, you asked me like 15 questions there, but I would say definitely, like if your goal was to get 15 appointments and it's 6 o'clock and you think you're working like a 9 to 5 and you've decided, okay, it's 6 o'clock and I only have 12. Well, then you're not supposed to stop. You're supposed to keep going until you get to 15. And if that means you're dialing until 9 o'clock, you have to do that. But the rewards come. And I mean, it 100% worked for me doing that, dialing, dialing, dialing. And of course, you suck at first. You always suck at first, unless you're just, amazing, which some people are. For me, I was not. So I had to learn, and I was reaching out to people. That was something I was never really super afraid to do. If you're making all these families, safe, protecting all these families, and I'm not, then I need to talk to you because I want to know what you're doing. So I guess, I don't know, did I miss anything there?
No, that was good. I'm going to just throw this caveat in there. One of the things I notice about top producers is that they are coachable. They become students of the industry. One of the things Rose did, I mean, when you can tell when she began getting a laser focus on growth, was she would, at the end of the day, she would call me, hey, I had this appointment. How would you handle it? A plan to review. She started literally like a sculptor, just carving out all the extras, right? She was very, very coachable. So if you're wanting to increase and just go on a intense learning curve, you need to get a coach. Get some kind of workout partner or someone who can help you, and you can just touch base on that as well. And one of the things I got from her as well is, are your goals non-negotiable? There's a lot of stories of people talking about the difference between negotiable and non-negotiable goals. If you're like Rose, you set a goal and to book X number of appointments, but you don't give yourself a whip, meaning if I don't hit this goal, I will take this away. If you don't give yourself a whip, your goal has no teeth. Now, I'm sure we can go on a whole nother training about the kind of whips that Rose gave herself, but one of the whips was she is not leaving until she's booked a number of appointments, and that pushes you into gear to do those things. So what kind of whip are you leaving for yourself? And Rose, if you don't mind us asking, how many appointments were you going for either the next couple of dial days or for the week?
Always 30, definitely. Sometimes when I was learning, and I don't always still hit that goal, but so if I don't, one other important thing is, I guess probably the first couple weeks too, 7:30 to 9:30 every day. So if you still have that time period to dial a little bit more, for the appointments you didn't get booked for the days that you need them booked for, then that's super, super key time where, most people aren't like mad at the day yet. So when you talk to them, then it's really good. And my phone burner, I was using phone burner and it wasn't allowing me to call at 7:30. So I was kind of hand dialing till 8. At first I was like, oh, well, I guess I just can't dial until 8. But that's not really the case. You can still dial, you can still, do what you need to do. And definitely just committing to the process and understanding that everybody starts somewhere. Everybody's in a different situation. And instead of just, being upset about how this happened or you got a no-show or these people, you just knew it was going to be so great. One thing I learned also from Joe is not to focus on one person. I spent probably in my first month, like 3 days trying to find this lady, like a $20 a month policy that was going to be worth $5,000, and I never could find it. And he kept telling me back then, don't focus on one person, keep going. And that's another thing about leads is if you have enough of them to do that, and at that time I didn't, then you can keep going. So stack the deck in your favor and like don't focus on one thing, like regroup, like whoever you were just with, even if it was like super rough or even if it was super great, like you have to press the reset button and realize wherever else you're going, if you don't give them that unconditional time, I'm there with you. And if I can walk into your home and you can see that when I'm with you, it's for you. It's all about you and what I can do to help you. And if I make it be about me, I don't get to help them.
I love it, man. I love it. Hey, if you see, my head is down. I'm taking notes because, like I said, success leaves clues. And then when you're a 20 family a month producer, The biggest challenge is going from the things that took you to that level and getting in complacency mode, manager mode. Manager mode is a kiss of death. So Rose, how, now that you're there, you're loving life more, how are you keeping the edge sharp? What are you doing to make sure that you just don't just ride the wave, but you're still pushing?
So the other day, I'm listening to training videos on my way to appointments when I'm going somewhere. I actually got pulled over the other day. I text you about that. I got pulled over the other day listening. So I don't recommend this, but definitely like turn on podcasts or any of the training. So actually one thing I super did so there's this thing Joe taught me about setting the table, which my first few appointments I didn't get. I had no idea what I was doing. I was not asking the right questions. I would call Mac, and Mac would be like, well, did you ask this? I'm like, I don't know. What are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? And so then Joe did this training on how to set the table. And I'm like, okay, I can set the table. So I would listen to it in the car on my way to every single appointment. And then I could word for word say what he said and draw this little picture. It's actually a cool concept about I'm just a field underwriter. And I would do that setting the table thing. I would watch him and listen to him say it so that I knew word for word exactly what he said. And I said the exact same thing when I went in there. And it was amazing because he, in the video, he's like, this is child's play. And like, I'm doing exactly what he's saying. And he's right. It works. Everything everyone teaches you, it works. Even if you don't believe it then, look back in 3 months and you're gonna be like, gosh, they were right. They were so right.
Amazing how when you look back, the simple stuff just kind of comes out at you, right? So if you're brand new, there's a lot of people looking for how-tos today. Others are looking for tell me how to think. We want to do a combination of both. If you're looking for it, some of us remember when we were kids, there was this Where is Waldo, right? Where is Waldo book. You got to go find Waldo, and there's a lot of things that are distracting, and you found him, right? And if Rose is telling it, it's the same thing that happened to me. And that's simply, you learn the simple stuff. And then as you go through and master the masters, Rose listened over and over and over the masters. Guys, I did the same thing. I literally recorded and I listened over, I scripted it. Some of you are geniuses where you could just hear it one time and do it, but we mastered it. And once we mastered it, we could hear the music. Now we didn't have to worry whether our steps were right. We could just actually enjoy the music and begin dancing. And I love it. You set the table and everyone needs to start somewhere. Now, just so we're clear, for you, how many leads were you buying on a dial day to make sure you were having enough at bats?
I would say at least like 200, like at least. So yeah, at least 200, so that the ones that are telling you, no, I don't even want that, hang up as fast as they can. And you're like, but they filled the form out. Like, it doesn't matter. Okay, whatever. There's another guy. Like, there's so many people I have to get through, and I have to get through them 3 times in a row, 3 times a day. And in order to do that, okay, whatever. I might have messed that one up, but, and how can I fix that next time? Write down all the things that I got objections for, and, find out what I'm going to say next time when they call. Talk to someone like, you, Mac, or, someone else like Anna, phone boss Anna. How can you handle that objection better next time? And you can learn that in the live dial rooms. You can learn that, going to an office. You can learn that by reaching out. But if you keep doing the same thing that you're doing on your own, getting the same exact negative stuff, it's just going to crush you, and you're going to be out of business because you're not going to know how to improve.
Not learning. Love it. I love it. Rose, this is awesome. I'm just taking notes on that. Just so if you're remembering, guys, you need to buy enough leads so that you have enough at bats. For Rose, it's 200. I love what Toby said. He's one of the top producers. I think he was close, if not the number one. He broke the record he helped over 100, I think, and 20 families in a month. Guys, come on. And he said, they asked him, I think it was Steven, hey, what's your best objection for someone says this, this, this? And he says, what's your best objection if someone says, hey, I didn't fill the form out? He goes, you know what? The best objection for all those, or the best response, is I just buy more leads. And that's what gave me so much confidence as a new person. Because, in the beginning, and you told me this is true, Rose, I was looking for the perfect anecdote, the silver bullet, the perfect thing to say that would just calm the situation, get the person from un to interested. And the best thing you can be confident in, listen, they filled it out. They may be crazy, but there are enough people that fill it out that I can just keep calling. And here we are today. Is that, you tell me, Rose, am I crazy or is that true?
No, that's true. And one of the crazy things is I started asking you different questions once I started getting little things down. So you didn't ever give me like every single thing off the bat. It was like you had me learn from everything, every situation I went in, and you'd be like, yep, that happened to me. Here's what we can do now. And I'd be like, oh, okay, that's perfect. And it was like if I hadn't gone out there and put in the work to learn to try to get better, then the information you would have given me would have been useless.
It is. And we're going to go back to get a little bit on the nitty gritty on the specifics. So Rose, I'm gonna do a little quick fire session at you. And then we're gonna get back into some specifics. So your best travel trip. So travel trips we know is when you leave your area and you go help protect families in another area. Your best travel trip ever. Which location?
So I haven't I live in a small town, and so I go to like Fort Worth or another town. So I guess you can do like $5,000 in a different city. You drive like an hour and a half away where there's more leads because there's not that many. So yeah,
That's awesome. And most families helped in a day.
And one day, 5.
Awesome. It's a good day, right?
Yeah.
Most dollars you ever made in a day. Grinding.
900.
Guys, is she normal? Yeah. She does. Does she walk the walk? It's a long day. Those days aren't they?
Yeah.
And again, just to kind of show you that she's normal. And again, this happens to all of us. We talk so much about the success that we sometimes get to the point where people think we are somehow immortal or invincible. We just simply get used to the challenges and we take the road less traveled. What used to be weird and hard, it just becomes normal. You negotiate the process differently. You don't get just so hit by it. Rose, the most consecutive no sales. How many appointments you just go consecutive no sales?
Like 20 since I started. Yeah, like 20 in a row, probably at least.
20 in a row, guys. Look at that. 20 no sales in a row. It's crazy. How about no shows?
Oh, definitely the same. Yeah.
No
about
shows.
20.
Your favorite lead type?
Age mortgage protection.
Age mortgage. And that interesting. You would think people love the fresh stuff, right? Why aged? You would think everyone loves the brand new minted stuff. Well, why is that your favorite?
So and I like aged 1 month too, but so I would say definitely they're not getting a million calls at that time, so they're a little bit, nicer. And then you can get more of them, and they're just more receptive to you. I mean, you can get more of them, and you can just work harder. And sometimes people fall through the cracks, like the older people, stuff like that.
You're looking at fresh lead is about 80 to 100 bucks. Age lead, 8 to 10, 15 bucks, right? And, if you found that the age leads versus the fresh leads, the objections are about the same, no matter who it is.
Oh my God, yes. The objections are always the same. I don't care what lead type, it doesn't matter. So I've even been branching out to new lead sources, and that's when I came to the conclusion. CRM leads, instance, 3 months, 1 month, all of them, they're great. Like at first I thought, oh my God, these are hard, right? Like there's no way that this is just whatever it is, but they're super good. Once I branched out and these other ones are like 20, 30 bucks, same thing. They may not answer their phone either. They might hang up on you too. And the CRM leads, they're actually pretty great. And I think everything I did maybe last week, except for like 2 were all from CRM leads.
All of them CRM. That's awesome. A lead is a lead. Now let's get into the script, just for a little bit of the detailed stuff here. Let's go into a script. So let's say I'm an age mortgage. You mind role playing with this real quick?
Okay.
All right. So ring. I say hello.
Hey, Mac.
Yep.
Hey, Mac, this is Rose. I'm actually just getting back to you about, oh, that's Sierra. Phone one. Okay, so, hey, Mac.
Hey,
Hey, Mac, this is Rose. I'm actually calling in regards to your mortgage with Guild Mortgage. You may not remember this, but back when you had financed your loan, you filled out a form requesting information about paying off your mortgage in the event of a death or an illness. We just
mhm.
did a recent audit at our office, and it's showing that no one ever got the information out to you, just as far as your mortgage protection options go. So I just need to verify what you had put down on the form is correct so we can get this delivered to you. Looks like you put your date of birth as 10/12/2001. Is that right?
Yep,
Okay. And then I have the address as 123 Go FFL
yep.
out in Maryland. Okay, perfect. So, Mac, all these programs are non-medical. So we don't send a nurse or a doctor out to do blood or urine samples, nothing crazy like that. They do just require that we get this information out to you in person because I have to validate your ID and ensure you're living and breathing, that no one's trying to take out insurance in your name. So are you still working full time? Are you retired or disabled?
Retired.
Retired?
Mhm.
Okay, perfect. And are you married, widowed, single, or divorced?
I'm single.
You're single, okay. And so you're retired. So are you typically home during the day tomorrow? You have any doctor's appointments?
No, I'm pretty clear tomorrow. Just got something in the morning.
Okay, perfect. So in the morning, I'm actually booked up, so that's great. They do have me dispatched out there in your area tomorrow and the next day. So I do have about a 2 p.m. or a 3:15. Which one would work better for you?
Let's do it 2 p.m.
At 2 p.m. Okay,
Mhm.
great. So Matt, can you go ahead and grab a pen and paper so I can give you some of my information?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, Matt. So my name is Rose. That's Rose, Rose, like the flower.
Hmm.
My state license number is 2660887.
Hmm.
Okay, and I'm going to be driving a white SUV. And I have you down for what time was that again?
I got 2 p.m.
Okay, right. 2 p.m. So I have you down for 2 p.m. tomorrow. Now let me ask you a question. Is that 123 on the mailbox, on the curb, or on the house?
On the mailbox.
It's on the mailbox. Okay,
Mhm.
perfect. So are you pretty easy to find? What color is that house out there?
It's green.
It's green. Okay,
Mhm.
perfect. So all right. So I have you down for the 2 o'clock. Yeah, you don't have any big dogs, booby traps, or anything crazy when I walk up to your door?
Just a big chihuahua.
A big chihuahua. All right.
Mhm.
Sounds good. That chihuahua is not going to attack me, right, Mac?
No, it'll lick you to death.
Okay, perfect. All right, Mac. I've
Mhm.
got you down for the 2 o'clock. So I'll see you tomorrow at 2. I look forward to helping you.
Well done. I love the tie downs. Now, in the beginning of your script, do you usually go that long where you just basically take the whole part of it? And if you do so, why?
The beginning
Yeah, in
where
the beginning of the script, you don't ask them quick fire questions. You don't, there isn't much of an interaction. I'm just wondering if you can tell everyone, why do you do that? And does it work? Is
I
it
don't
just
do
like
any
that? Go ahead.
pauses. I want them to know what I'm calling for. And I don't want them to have a chance to say anything until I'm verifying that I have their information. And
Mm,
that way that piques their interest when they know that I know their date of birth and their address. And so the only response they can give me is yes. And then if I can jump back into the next part, we're just booking it and maybe they don't even know what's happening. Sometimes they push back. But if I'm taking control of that conversation, usually it's a win.
awesome. I was saying is the thing is you don't ever want to ask a question you don't know the answers to. And if you notice how Rose controls it, you just know when to hook them and you let them speak when there's time. That's awesome, Rose. One of the reasons we do this, guys, is just so you can know after hearing so many people from different backgrounds to know that these folks can all be high paid actors, right? Rose, I didn't give you a big fat, wire transfer before this so you can tell us all this stuff about FFL and how it works. You got the kids. You didn't get a wire transfer from me, right? Didn't work that
Never
way.
had to
I mean,
work for everything I ever did.
so the whole goal is for you to kind of just come to the conclusion that these people cannot all be high paid actors. It's a matter of simply work hard, buy the leads, dial the leads, run the appointments. Rose, as we come to a close on this, what advice would you give for a brand new person?
A brand new person,
Brand new person.
I would say get in a live dial room or in an office, have your leads bought before it's time to dial. Get on the phone immediately at the time you say you're going to get on the phone, and don't stop even when someone's mean to you. Keep going, ask people for advice, and don't ever stop asking for advice. Like I call random other people because I don't want to, call Mac so many million times, Joe so many million times. Everyone's busy. Reach out to as many people as you can, and then you're getting resources from like 10 top producers, and then you have all these connections, and you've learned so much from all these different people. You can take the pieces that matter to you, but just don't ever give up when it's hard. Don't ever quit when it gets hard. Don't ever stop believing in yourself when it gets hard, because it's going to be hard. We can't hear you. You're muted.
And can you hear us okay? No, I said that was awesome, Rose. Said, well, where do you see yourself 90 days? How many families are you helping a month?
90 days. So I'd like to get up to try to do 30. I just want to help as many people as I can, and still be able to spend time with my family. And I mean, my goals are big, so I would like to hit Hall of Fame.
It's awesome, guys. This has been awesome. Again, Rose, appreciate you. I know we couldn't get all the nuggets in one 30 minutes or 45 minutes, but I believe if you're brand new, you've gotten enough to begin the process of enrolling in a intense learning curve of the industry, of yourself, and simply doing what Rose said. You simply just got to work hard, believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, borrow our belief of you. Borrow what happened to Rose. This will be posted on a little bit later. Some people had questions about the setting the table. You go ahead and get with your leadership, and they'll get you that information. But until then, guys, let's take charge. We'll see you guys at the top. See you guys.